Today we are building an 8 GPU mining rig for Kaspa. What is going on, miners, and welcome back to the Hobbyist Miner channel. Well, in today's video, we are building a GPU mining rig. With Kaspa pumping recently and the fact that I got my hands on 5 additional GPUs recently, man, it's felt like a while since I've actually gotten any new GPUs. It's crazy. I'm like, let's do a GPU mining rig build. Let's jump over and take a look at the hardware that we'll be using for today's build. All right, so what do we have here? Well, these are the 5 GPUs that we just recently picked up. We got them actually from CryptoCaverns.com. Not sure if you guys knew. This was actually the GPU mining farm that I actually toured not too long ago, back in October, and now they're selling GPUs. So this is actually, I've never had one of these before, a GALAX. Have you guys had one of these? Comment down below. The card quality is amazing. They don't feel cheap like a gigabyte or anything, but these are GALAX GeForce RTX 3070s. And we got 5 of these. And why 5 and why not 8, right? Well, we got 5 because we actually have this Octominer. This is actually my first Octominer here, guys. This is the Octominer X8 Ultra Plus. And we already have 3 3070s. We have a PNY, we have a ASUS, and we have a Gigabyte. So we only needed 5 to fill this here. And these have actually been on flux for the longest time. I got them back right after the Ethereum merge. The guy was parting out a bunch of his mining rigs locally, and I picked them up for about $325 for each of these, which worked out awesome for me, especially after seeing GPU prices so high for the longest time. This one's actually weird, check it out. It actually has a 12 pin, almost like a Founders Edition, but it's a PNY, and it goes down here into 2 8 pins. I had to actually buy this like nylon-ish cable because of the fact off Amazon, because he didn't actually have the original. But all 3 of these have worked awesome. We've had them on flux. I think they did like 60, 61 souls, and they've treated me really, really well. But it's time to get this on Kaspa. So we're going to be taking these 5 GPUs that we've been working on. If you guys have been following my live streams, I go live, guys, every week on Thursdays, and we've been spending the last few weeks just one a night and cleaning these. These have all been hand cleaned inside and out, upside down. We've gone ahead and given them new thermal pads and paste, and we've cleaned them entirely. They're all in great condition now. They weren't that bad, actually. Getting them from Crypto Caverns, they were actually in really good shape. And if you guys are interested in what these go for, each one of these goes for about $370. And I know, oh my gosh, $370? That's so expensive for a 3070. Well, I don't know how easy you're gonna find 5 that are matching locally and all at once, and you know where they're coming from and who mined with them. So I was completely okay with it. And now that I've had a chance to work on these GALAX, I cannot wait to get my hands on some more of these here, because I'll be honest, these are some of the nicest cards I've worked on. They come apart super easy. They're not super complicated. It's almost like they were designed to go ahead and actually be cleaned and maintained. Imagine that. Some of these manufacturers out there are insane. Anyways, back on point. Let me go ahead and I'm going to take these cards and move them down, and let's get our 5 3070s installed into this rig so we can get mining Kaspa. Oh man, are we ready to mine some Kaspa? So let's go ahead and take a look. So I did need to move things around a little tighter down here than I like, but worked out okay. So we have our PNY down here with our 12 pin. We then have our ASUS, and then we also have our Gigabyte. So it worked out well with some of our cabling through here. Now this is where things look awesome. I love the matching. I mean, look at that. It makes me want to buy 3 more, I'm gonna be honest, and put them down here. But take a look, guys. So we have all 5 of our GALAX here. It's a little tight right here. Look at this. Look how tight that is. So we're gonna have to make sure, you know, airflow's okay right in here, because look, this is where the GPU ends, and then look, there's the heat sink right there. Now they're not touching or anything, so we're okay, but man, Octominer really went ahead and crammed that in there. This could be a little slimmer. But yeah, I mean, because if you look down here, look how much room is here. if they were able to shift everything down a little bit more, then we would have had more room around the motherboard here. But we have our other 4 ones right in here. Everything worked out well. What I did do was spend some time on piping down the PCI cables. I used a zip tie to keep them away from these high RPM fans. Funny story, my shirt got too close to one of these, sucked it in and chopped up my shirt. Has that happened to anybody else? Anyways, piped it down through here, have another zip tie here. I just hate having PCI cables laying everywhere. I also went ahead and put a zip tie on the extra tail here on each end. This was just for the 6-pin, and then this one also has just the 8-pin. Now, the nice thing is about these GALAX, another thing I'm gonna push for, is guys, they're only one 8-pin. It's so nice. One 8-pin, easy to work on, high quality. Man, oh man, I've become a GALAX fanboy. Versus like, you know, look, you got your Gigabyte here, has a 8 and a 6-pin. You have 2 8-pins on this ASUS, and then you have this weird 12-pin on the PNY. I did go ahead and put the rest of the PCI cables. I keep them all in the rigs. I don't take them out because they're cut to like length for all the different sizes and stuff. And I know if I took them out, I'd lose them or put them in my PCI bin and then, you know, have an issue. So I'm like, nope, I always keep them in my server cases just in case I ever need them. So that's it. We're ready to go. Let me get this plugged in because I want to get this into a 30 amp 240 volt so I can also monitor on my voltage meter to see how many watts we end up using, and then we'll head over to the PC. Alrighty miners, so I wanted to show you guys where we got these from just in case you're interested. So if you go over to Crypto Caverns, and once again, if you guys recognize the name, it's because I did a mining farm tour of their facility back in October. Really cool bunch of guys, really cool place. But Crypto Caverns here, they actually are selling GPUs on their shop. So if you come over here, go to shop, it's going to go ahead and load up. They have ASICs and GPUs and all lots of really good stuff out there. But if you come on over, scroll on down, here's the 3070s, and they have a variety of different ones out there. Some of them I never heard of before. So they're actually cheaper now. Ugh. So these are the GALAX metal top OCs. You can see it right here. If you click the drop down menu, they actually have all the different models that are out there. They even have a Zotac in there. Not a huge fan of Zotac, but they do have, like, this is the colorful battle axe. There's the Gainward one in there, Gainward Glad, the metal top one, which is the one I got, and then finally the Zotac in there as well. So if you guys want, go over and check them out. Crypto Caverns, I'll put a link down below if you guys do want to check it out. All right, so let's jump into our HIVEOS here. I have it up and running. Let's go to our mining shed. And then once we're in here, this rig is called Scarlet Witch. Most of my rigs are named after X-Men. I actually want to change them to be, work with my kids and name them after Pokemon. I think that would be a lot of fun. My kids are huge Pokemon fans. But how do you guys name your GPU mining rigs? Leave a comment down below. Love to hear some of these creative ideas. So Scarlet Witch is ours down here. Let's load that up. And for the first time, and no, not just because it's YouTube, but everything loaded for the first time. When does that ever happen? Never for me, at least. It's always a headache. But you can see all 8 of our 3070s are within the software. So 2 things I like to check when I'm doing a build like this. First off is our HIVEOS updated. So if you come up to the top, if there's an update, this little arrow is going to be orange. For me, I'm going to click on it, and then there would be an option here to do an update. No update, so we're good to go. The other thing I want to do is make sure our drivers are up to date. So you can actually see at the bottom, it'll actually show you for NVIDIA 510.60.02. So let's go ahead and we're going to access our rig from the top, Hive shell start, and we'll go ahead and access the Hive shell. All right, we're going to click our little button here. We're going to bring it up, which is what we want. Now there's actually a command right there, NVIDIA driver update. We're going to go ahead and run that. NVIDIA-driver-update. And if you don't specify a version, it's going to go ahead and get you the latest version. All right, so it's going to go ahead and load everything up here. It shows the latest is actually 525.89.02, and we're on 510.60.02. So let this run. Could take 5-10 minutes or so, and your rig will go ahead and get the latest NVIDIA drivers out there and then get you right back up to that screen. All right, so while that NVIDIA driver is updating, let's talk about our wallet and our flight sheet with building out, like what pool we're going to use. So if you guys don't have a setup to run a core wallet, I wouldn't recommend running multiple core wallets on like your day-to-day gaming PC or anything. I have a server with multiple VMs. Each VM has its own core wallet. It works out really well. Not to say that's a norm, but you can go ahead and download the KASPA core wallet is out there and available. But if you guys just need something quick and easy, because Kaspa actually isn't actually set up on a lot of these multi-asset wallets out there, like Zelcore or Exodus, you can just use their web wallet. So the web wallet address, I'll give it to you here, and be careful when you're out there, is wallet.kaspanet.io. You can come over here and in about 30 seconds, you guys can set up your wallet. Now, don't forget, if you click new wallet, you're going to go through kind of the wizard. Make sure that you guys write down and store safely in any way that you do this with your secret phrase and everything like that. You know, make sure, because not only your password, you have to remember everything and keep track of it. Don't store it on your same computer that you use every day. Make sure you store it somewhere securely. There's lots of best practices out there. Go ahead and look them up. But while we're waiting for this to finish, get it. If you're kind of copying some of the things we're doing, make sure you guys do get your Kaspa wallet set up and have your Kaspa address ready to go. So for today's video, we have used in the past, I've been really happy with them, is Hero Miners, especially for Kaspa. We have some of our rigs on it right now. If you come over to HeroMiners.com, you can take a look. They have a variety of different algos out there. For this, we're going to go ahead and select Kaspa. And I think we have 2 rigs on it right now, maybe 1, I can't remember. But everything you guys are going to need is right in here. My Kaspa address is actually already filled out and good to go, which is awesome. We'll copy it and have it readily available. It'll be within HIVEOS. But yeah, you can see here we have 2 actually set up on it. We have an Octominer X12 that actually has 6600s in it. And then we have my 580 rig. So we're about 5 gigahash, nothing crazy on Kaspa right now, but we're about to add a lot more. So Hero Miners is what we are going to use for today's video within HIVEOS. So the NVIDIA driver update has finished, which is awesome. We're set and ready to go. So what we're going to do is go back over to our rig. We'll just refresh this real quick. And now we're ready to set up our flight sheet. So I'm going to go in here to flight sheet, and we're going to go ahead and create a new flight sheet for this. And we're going to select Kaspa. There we go. Our wallet, we've already preloaded into HIVEOS, so we have that readily available to us. The pool, we're going to select Hero Miners. And I'm going to go ahead and we'll do SSL, East, and West Coast. Hit apply. Now for our miner, we're going to go ahead and use LOL miner. G miner is a super popular one as well. It really comes down to what performs best with what GPUs you have. I've heard that like if you're running a 3070 Ti and higher, it's better to use G miner versus anything below that 3070 Ti mark to use LOL miner. But test them out, find one that works best for you. Keep in mind your overclock settings may differ based off of the miner that you're using. So we're going to select LOL miner, and I always like to name these here so I know what rig they go with. So Scarlet Witch, and then we're going to say Kaspa, KAS, and then what miner, which is LOL miner. So it's the flight sheet is easily identifiable. So we're going to do create flight sheet, and we've gone ahead and got it created there. Let's go back to our workers, down to Scarlet Witch, back to flight sheets, and here is our miner right here. So we're going to go ahead and hit apply. Now, I always recommend that you apply flight sheets to a new rig with no overclock settings, because sometimes your overclocks can actually cause the miner to crash or the mining not to start. And so first, it's always good to make sure that like the thing actually mines, right? Let's check that off our list first. It's okay to run completely stock for a short period of time, and then we're going to go ahead and overclock it. All right, so it's a little louder right now because on stock settings, this is roaring right now. I had to do a reboot, rebooted it, and now everything's up. But you can see these cards are not happy with just stock settings. They're just burning. Look at that electricity, 200 plus when it comes down to your watts. I mean, this is pure insanity. You would not want to run this full time just like this, but we can check off that we know that all the cards are mining, that everything works. Now our next step is to work on overclocks. So I'm going to stop the miner here because some of these cards are getting awfully hot. All right, so let's get some overclock settings in, because I mean, the big thing about Kaspa is the fact of being able to get a good amount of hash rate at very minimal watts. You can't run this at 200, 250 watts. It destroys your profitability. We need to be talking 75, 60 watts total per card in order to stay profitable. So what we're going to do is we're going to come in here. We've stopped the miner, by the way, and we're going to do a few things here. So first, we're going to click in the top right-hand corner, and for LOL miner, we're going to use, I believe it's about 400. But if you're using like Gminer, don't quote me, you'll have to look into it some more, do your own testing. I think you use about 240. So that's why it really comes down to what actual miner you're going to use. So we're going to set that to 400 there. That's going to be 400 for all of our 3070s. It's a nice thing about a full matching rig. Next thing we're going to do is we want to lock the core and lock the memory. So you actually do that within the Flightsheet. So we're going to come in here, set up miner config, and down here under extra config arguments, we're going to use, now this is specific for LOL miner. Gminer actually has different syntax as well. So we're going to do C clock, and then we're all going to do 1425, and then dash dash, and then MCLK is how that would look there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do 810. Now this really varies per model, so keep that in mind. As we talked about before, these settings will be absolutely different based off of 3060 or 3070 Ti. So you need to make sure you do your research and due diligence. A fellow content creator has done a really good job on this, 𝐷Fox Crypto. Go check him out. He has a lengthy video on testing LOL miner and also Gminer. So I definitely recommend that you guys check it out. Once that's done, hit apply, and we'll get that miner started again. All right, so I'm not gonna lie, it's been like an hour. Oh my gosh. So the original GALAX cards, I tested individually on a test bench and they run fine, right? They're good. All the settings are great. Well, how dare I think that my 3070s are all gonna behave the same, even though they're all the same memory? Wrong. So I went ahead and finally decided, all right, let me get my GALAXes set up exactly how I had them on the individual test bench. So they're good. We've gone ahead and gotten our overclock settings in. We have 400 on the core, and then we come into our flight sheet and take a look at our flight sheet. We do have some arguments in here. So we have our devices set for just the GALAX GPUs, and then you can see that our core clock we've locked in at 425, and then our memory at 810. Well, I decided just to do the GALAX ones because it kept crashing when I tried to apply these settings to all of them. So I'm going to try to tweak these. These are the three that aren't the GALAXes, the PNY, the ASUS, and the Gigabyte. They're just not playing well. It seems like they have challenges with the core clock. I'm going to have to play with that. I may even do a separate flight sheet of just Gminer for these three. I'm going to test it out, so I'll be back here soon. All right, no one touch anything. What a pain in the ass. So we got everything mining on one flight sheet with one miner, with LOL miner, but man, isolating this down to the one card, that's the problem. There's always one, right? There's always one. And no surprise here, it's actually that PNY that had that 12-pin connector. That was my problem child. So what I ended up doing, I'll show you guys in the flight sheet, is what I decided to do was, I got all my settings in regarding like core clock and my mem clock locks. And then if you see on devices, like I actually have the individual devices listed in there. I just started at like 7 and worked my way 6, 5, 4, got all those in there. And then the first few were like the outliers. And I tried like one of them and it would fail, and try the other one and fail. So I figured out that like that PNY was my problem child. But I had to reboot a million times. Every single time I added a device, bam, I had to reboot. So this took so much longer than I expected. And then the delay, the change definitely took some time as well. So I isolated it down to number 2. And then my mindset was like, okay, stability. Like as much as I want low clocks, I want stability as well. So taking a look, you can see for number 2, that PNY, we're still at the same hash rate, 503. But you can see my watts are a little bit higher, 68 versus some of the other ones, 56, 63, 60. So let's say for 8 additional watts, I'm okay. I'm okay for 8 more watts for more stability. And I think that's a challenge we as miners sometimes look past, is like performance and watts versus stability, because if it's not stable enough, it's going to be an issue. So you can see my core clock there, I have set it 100. It's stable. I'm not touching it after the amount of time that we just put into this. Oh my gosh. But where that does is that puts us at 4 gigahash on this rig. And for 4 gigahash, we're at a whopping 610 watts. Alrighty guys, so here she is, ready to go back in our crypto mining shed and get mining KASPA. I'm excited. 4 gigahash alone on this rig for only 610 watts. That is a huge win, especially right now with KASPA's profitability. Guys, I'd love to hear about your wins right now with KASPA. Are you mining KASPA? If so, with what GPUs? A few? All? Give me a rundown down below. I'd love to hear from you guys. If you guys have any questions on anything we used today, any of the graphics cards, any of the sites, anything like that, leave them down below. I'm going to try to leave links to, we talked about a lot today. I'll leave links to all of that in the description. If you guys enjoyed today's video, give it one of these, and I'll see you guys next time.